Good evening all. I am Indu Joy, Senior Cathlab Technologist, KIMS Health Trivandrum. First of all, let me thank ISRT for giving this wonderful opportunity. My case is a percutaneous retrieval of foreign body in neonate. Retrieval of foreign body in pediatric population is challenging due to radiation concerns, small vessel size, and limitations in terms of hardware. The most commonly used technique is to grip foreign body from outside using snare or forceps. This is the picture of a snare. This is a forceps and it will be like this. Sometimes foreign bodies are deliberately displaced from the original position. To bring them to an accessible position, balloon technique or sometimes stone retrieval baskets are used. This is a stone retrieval basket. The above techniques work well in large size and distended vascular channels as there is enough space for the hardware to get in. And one technique introduced by Woodhouse and Oberoi. They have described balloon technique with a low profile balloon in their article. This is picture of a balloon, coronary PTCA guide wire, balloon. It can be introduced over 0.014 inch guide wire and the tip will be like this. We can use an inflator here, can inflate the balloon, and if we are into the catheter, we can inflate it, make sure the grip, and we can take the catheter foreign body out. Our case is of a neonate. A week preterm newborn was under admission in our ICU for persistent hypoglycemia. It was manifested soon after the birth and was recovering from the same. The patient had 6 French umbilical vein catheter placed during initial admission for fluid management. On day 7, the patient had made a good recovery and it was decided to remove the umbilical vein catheter. This is the picture of umbilical vein catheter. You can introduce catheter here. During the process of cutting sutures to unfasten the catheter tip got inadvertently cut and the catheter was no longer accessible from outside. And the repeated trial made the catheter move within the cavity. A mini cut down of the umbilical vein was attempted as the catheter was still palpable just cranial to umbilicus. During surgical manipulation of the site for stay sutures on the umbilical vein, the catheter migrated further cranially and was no longer palpable. At this point, the ultrasound demonstrated the position of lower end of the catheter in the segment of umbilical vein in the fissure of ligamentum teres. The catheter was here and it was no longer accessible. It was decided to attempt percutaneous retrieval and to consider surgical exploration as second option. In our Cathlab low-dose fluoroscopy done, it showed the lower end of the catheter along the lower edge of liver and the catheter was passing through ductus venosus and through IVC to a right atrium and it was crossing foramen ovale and to the left atrium and the tip was seen into right superior pulmonary vein. It was the picture. It was crossed foramen ovale like this. It was the upper pulmonary vein. The tip was seen here. Initial attempts were done to cannulate the umbilical vein using 0.014 inch smaller guide wire, which was used for coronary angioplasty. However, these attempts were unfruitful due to low support of the guide wire and collapsed umbilical vein. Due to the repeated attempt, the vein collapsed. 0.014 inch guide wire failed to travel any further in umbilical vein, repeatedly entering into peritoneal cavity. Hence, it was decided to put a sheath touching the lower end of the catheter so that a smaller guide wire can easily enter into the catheter through it. Umbilical vein was catheterized subsequently under direct vision using 0.025-inch guide wire, which was navigated into the lumen of displaced umbilical catheter. A short 0.025-inch guide wire was chosen to support sheath placement. Though the entry was into the lumen, it was vein was collapsed and the wire was most likely to travel within, rather pushing umbilical vein catheter further distally. You can see here it was going by side and catheter is sitting here. Okay. To prevent this complication, this step was performed due to diligence and under fluoroscopic control. Over this guide wire, a 6-French transradial sheath was placed into umbilical vein with the tip of the sheath in close contact with the lower end of the umbilical vein catheter. Subsequently, a 0.014-inch Versaton guide wire was passed alongside of previous guide wire into umbilical catheter. This step was done easily by close proximity of the sheath tip to the lower end of umbilical vein catheter. You can see here, up to this point, there's the sheath. Using 2.5 guide wire, we could introduce the sheath. It was facing the umbilical vein catheter. It is a picture of 0.014-inch guide wire, and it is a coronary balloon. We could enter into the umbilical vein catheter using 0.014-inch guide wire along with the previous 0.025 guide wire which was placed initially. After that, 0.014 guide wire could pass along the side. And after that, this 0.25-inch guide wire was removed and a PTCA guide wire 1.5 mm balloon was introduced over the guide wire. Under fluoroscopy and visual inspection, the balloon was inflated up to the nominal pressure. It was 8 atmospheres. It was inflated up to 8 atmospheres, confirmed the grip within the catheter, and the whole assembly was retrieved with the inflated balloon within. It was an inflated picture of the balloon. You can see here. In this case, since umbilical vein was collapsed, use of intravascular forceps was not considered as first option, as this would require a large sheath and minimum 8 or 9 French sheath may be required, and the space around the catheter to manipulate forceps within the vessel will be more than these techniques. We could use small collapsed vessel to our advantage by cannulating catheter within to achieve a grip over the catheter followed by subsequent successful retrieval. And we could finish the procedure without any complications. Our radiologist and cardiologist and the neonatal team together could do the case without any complications. The baby was discharged on 3rd day of procedure. Thank you. Option